So Nam Aloha, everyone. Secretion, speaking of expansion, and we'll go. And this ties in with astrology, too, and human design. I like to keep things simple so that you can understand, right? And practical so that you can use it. So there's a secretion, the special secretion that happens every 29 and a half days, right? For us all. And the secretion starts, and this is all about our ascension. It's all about our ascension, which is interesting. It just occurred to me. I love how the divine works. It's so magical when you start to see the patterns, right? Remember these two are programming partners, the 54 and the 53, right? Expansion. And then the 54 is aspiration. So it's moving from greed to the material, right? Greedy for material things to aspiring to something greater. So this fits in with the secretion perfectly, right? So this is about our expansion as spiritual beings having human experiences, okay? So the secretion happens in the colostrum first, right? In the brain there. The secretion, and it secretes oil once a month in your body, and the ancients called this Christos. So that's Greek for Christ. Remember the return of Christ consciousness? This is how it happens, this secretion, right? So and then what it does, this oil, it differentiates. So half of it goes into the pineal gland and the other half in the pituitary. So the pineal gland is the positive charge, or the masculine energy. This isn't about gender, it's just about energy. And the pituitary is the female, negatively charged, right? So they differentiate this liquid, and then it goes down the Ida and the Pingala, right? The nadis, the nerve channel, they're at the tip. They're connected. They're connected to the pingala is connected to the pineal, and the Ida is connected to the pituitary. So then they make their way down, and then they come into the solar plexus. When I saw that, it's like, oh my God, how all these paths are converging, right? This is the synergy of the Aquarian age, the synthesis of the Aquarian age, right? Everything coming together, right? So it lands in the solar plexus, that liquid, right? It's from the pituitary and the pineal. And then they have a conception. A conception happens with these two liquids, right? Right? And then they create a seed. You can call it a seed, right? You call it a seed. And so what happens there, it gets charged by the solar energy. This is the sun, right? This is the as above, so below. What we see out here is all a reflection of what's going on inside of us, and the solar plexus is our sun, right? It's our sun, solar sun. And I've talked a lot about the solar plexus, and it's going through a mutation, which I'll get into in a second. So then it comes out of the solar plexus. It's been charged. It's in this little manger, right? It's Bethlehem. It's Bethlehem, which means bread. In the Bible, it talks about man can't live on bread alone, right? And that means the seed. This is what's feeding us spiritually. It's nurturing us spiritually. So what happens with the seed now, it moves out of the solar plexus, and it can go one of two ways, right? So it can go down through the lower chakras, right? The lower chakras, and this is where it's wasted. That seed, it gets wasted, and these are the 5 thieves. This is all about desire and gluttony and greed and, right, all the ego stuff. Or I think I talked about this, yeah. Wasted, like low vibration, like being in low vibration, being in victim, negative thinking. Also your emotional environment, That's why doing this emotional purification work is really important. So you're not in this, because you're swimming in this energy. If you've got unresolved anger, unresolved depression and fear and grief, that's going to kill this seed, right? This seed, right? The unprocessed anger, fear, grief in the emotional body. Alcohol dissolves that oil, separates that oil. Lustful sex, some unconscious sex. This includes masturbation too, that's unconscious. Overeating, GMO food, EMF radiation, all that. Fluoride in the water, all that stuff's going to kill that seed. So you can see how our world is against this, right? Against our ascension. That's why there's so very few people that truly ascend and become masters. So what really struck me is that Bible is about the mastery of the self. This comes from the teachings of the Essenes, right? It's really about mastery of the body and this lower self. Remember, in Kundalini Yoga, we have got an animal self, the human, and then the angelic self. We want to move more and more away from the animal self, right? So, so this is 2.5 days. Right, this whole process happens in 2.5 days. So it's really about keeping your vibration high during these 2.5 days, you know? And so then what happens is ascension. That seed ascends back up, and then it's deposited into the pineal gland. And this is the oil that lights the lamp. The two eyes become one, right? And then the body lights up, is illuminated. And this in turn optimizes our physical health, right? It's our spiritual development. This is part of our spiritual development process, and it starts at 12 years old, right? And it moves from there. And it made me think of this, you know, I can't say it, but because I think but you know what I'm talking about, with children, the attack on children, like sexual attack on children. It's always around this age. And it's all about stopping this process, right? This ascension of humanity. So back to the pineal gland, illuminates, right? Illuminates the pineal gland. This is like connected to the cosmic forces, evolving, becoming your spiritual adult. So that's the true alchemy that's happening. So how you know, and it's only 2.5 days. Maybe you're like, I can't do this all the time. This is crazy, right? But do it 2.5 days, because what happens is when you do this, that secretion gets more and more refined, and it gets stronger and more powerful, right? You become the lotus, right? Above, right? Of the world, right? But not in the world. That's what this is gonna help with your spiritual development. So there's lots of gifts that come with this. So 2.5 days. So you've got to look at when the moon, right? The moon is in Gemini right now. It's coming out of Gemini. When the moon is in your sun sign, right? So it just came out of Taurus. I'm a Taurus sun, right? So the moon was in Taurus. So that's my days of the secretion, and I really kind of kept to myself, went into solitude, very vigilant with my thoughts and my emotions and the food that I was eating, like eating light, right? So anyone can commit to 2.5 days. And I had crazy experiences, which I'll share maybe in another video, right, with this. So you can go to Deluxe Moon. I think it's deluxemoon.com, and that will give you when the moon is in your sign, because it's going to be in Cancer, clearly, right? It's the full moon. So if you've got a Cancer sun, this is going to be your time coming up for 2.5 days. But I'll put the link in the information box so that you can look at that, so that we're all and this is to help us, right? And this is the true temple. I think this is what Uranus and Taurus is teaching us, right? This true temple is our body. It's our body. And our bodies are sacred. And there's an attack on our bodies right now. Yeah. So moon in the sun sign, love, heart, light. Yeah. Yeah. Trying to quit alcohol. And look how prevalent alcohol is. You know, you can buy alcohol pretty much in the States like 7 days a week, right? Easily. And that was the thing that they kept open during the lockdown. They kept the booze stores open, right? Killing the seed. Killing the seed. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share. And I don't know if anybody has any more questions about that, but the ancient yogis talked about the pineal gland was the seat of the soul. So that makes sense, right? And it's got a little lens up top, right? It's got like a little lens. So this is the opening of the third eye. Yeah. So it's really a time to get aligned with our natural rhythms. Yeah. See, people, I love this. How we're all connected, you know? It's like the lunar calendar. People have been emailing me about that. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I'm ready to let go of this artificial world. Yeah. So yeah, ready to raise the seed. And to comment on that too, if you've already gone through the process. Because I had to get books. I ordered these books that were written over 100 years ago now, right? To learn more about it. Yeah. It's been hidden from us. And remember, all this secret knowledge now it can't be hidden. Can't be hidden in the Aquarian age. Yeah. Okay. So before I log off here, remember the 64% off the Phoenix programs. Really, really affordable. Turns out to like 144, right? For 6 modules. And this is the emotional shadow purification work. See you next video. Okay. Satnam Aloha, everybody.